Nick here with Westside EV, and today I'm going to show you how to install an oil pump in reverse. One of the services we provide at Westside EV is we can modify your stock oil pump for your Tesla small drive unit to work properly in reverse. It does work technically in reverse, but you lose oil pressure regulation. So what we do is we go ahead and plug the original ports, drill new ports. So we drilled a pressure relief port here and a vent through the cap. We also fit a 90-degree elbow because basically normally this thing fits in here like that, right? Pretend this isn't on there and this is back on there, and that's how it works. When we do the reverse mod, we actually have to flip this puppy around because when we run in reverse, the inlet becomes the outlet and the outlet becomes the inlet, essentially. We get the pressure regulation again, but now these ports are kind of in the wrong orientation, or the unideal orientation. This one's not too bad. It clears the phase wires here. But this side, if this was still on there, is going directly into the differential, and you got no way to put the hose on, and that's a problem. So we fit this 90-degree elbow here, and that seems to work quite well. Now, the next issue, as you could probably tell already, is the holes don't line up. This is the only mounting spot that still lines up with this hole here on the pump. So some people, they'll go ahead and drill another hole and tap it and screw in right there, or rivet or something like that. Now, and then just kind of run it with two holes secured. Obviously there's a question there of, how reliable is that going to be over time, and will that properly secure the pump, and if so, for how long. So secondarily, when you do that, you're going to probably get some shavings falling down into the motor, the actual rotor part. You absolutely don't want to get any metal shavings down in that side for obvious reasons. So there's just a risk associated with that particular approach. So at Westside EV, we developed this custom bracket here. And this was actually a lot of trial and error, but essentially this is how it works. So this pin here fits like that, right? And what this allows you to do is that. So this mounting point here is just like stock, no change here. We could still use these two holes, which essentially pin that particular mounting point in place. And then we add a third hole over here that never used to exist. And once you have that in place, the pump isn't going anywhere. It's secured. It's basically super solid. We don't have a whole lot of these out in the wild running, but just in our own tests, seems good. So we're making these available for other folks to try. But I'm going to go ahead and show you what needs to be done. The catch, however, is this part of the case needs to be grinded away to make room for this part of the bracket, just to give you enough threads so you can secure that properly. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. This. Now, one thing to note is this particular hole in the case, actually that goes all the way through the bottom. You definitely don't want any, material from the grinding getting down in there. So we're going to plug that. I'm just going to use a paper towel and make sure nothing getting there. And obviously we don't want, any of that material getting anywhere, ideally. But that one's like a real dangerous hole there. So for everything else, I'm just going to use like a paper bag. So you can either continue using the stock bolt, or you can switch over and use something like this, which you can get an Allen, it's an Allen head, and you can get an Allen in there much easier. If you're going to use the stock ones, I would suggest putting it in first, right? Then the bracket, then putting everything in and lining that one up and getting this one started, because you're going to have to come in with an open end wrench, because a socket just ain't gonna fit there. But for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use this other one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in place, get this in place. I'm going to start with this one here, since it's the hard one. You know, I'm not going to get it tight, but I'm just going to get it in until it's almost tight. All right. And for these two guys, I'm going to use the original hardware, because why not? The final one here, I'm also going to use one of these shorter, so these are like 5mm depth or length. Maybe it's a little, yeah, they're 8, sorry. Yeah, 8mm. I'm not putting thread lock on these, but I would put thread lock on them when you're ready to do it and button everything back up. So the bracket is threaded. All right, so now we come to put the hoses back on, and we'll start with this side here. And just get it on as far as you can. You might need to cut a notch out because this cap sticks out a little bit. It does kind of interfere a little bit with the hose, so you might want to just cut a little notch out of the hose. But you don't really need to. It's not going anywhere. It's on there. So there you go. And then here's the pickup assembly. This is going to go back in place like here. And this piece, you're going to have to probably cut down a little bit. But essentially it goes on right there. So just cut this down a little bit, and you should be good to go. And let me demonstrate, I guess. I'll put the differential back in just so you can see. So when you're putting the differential back in, you just want to be real careful that these are interlocking. Yeah, so don't do what I just did, which is pinch your fingers directly under the differential, because that hurts. But it's all the way in. Careful of that thing. And engagement with the oil pump should be good to go. So there you have it. That's how you install a Tesla front drive unit oil pump that has been modified for reverse operation using this bracket. hit us up if you guys have any questions or any comments, or if you have any ideas on how to make it even easier. Thanks. Bye.